Hello, and you're very welcome to this Game Pit Stop for Doors and Corners, an expansion for the Expanse board game, both of which were designed by Geoff Engelstein and published by WizKids. This expansion gives you 5 modules you can choose to add into the game, one at a time or all 5 at once, wherever you wish to do. The first module is Variable Setup, in which each player will place their 2 fleets in their home orbit. Then their other 3 fleets and the 3 influence they start the game with, they choose where they go, and we simply go round and round the table placing a fleet or an influence one at a time in order to vary how things set up on the board. The other thing to note is that we have got a new board in this expansion, and it includes a little bit of a clearer delineation between Jupiter and Saturn and the whole belt and sector thing, as was a little confusing to new players in the first version. The other 4 modules we've got are, the first one is Technologies. And now you still gain technologies, levels 1, 2 and 3 at the end of the first 3 scoring phases. However, for each of those levels, there are 3 technology cards for each of the factions. You draw 2, keep 1, and there are 4 cards to add to the deck, which will some way mess around with those technologies, let you claim another level 1/1, or make everyone else only draw 1 when it comes to the time, or whatever it may be. And for each of the rest of these modules, they all have 4 cards that they add to the deck, which somehow integrate with the mechanisms that these modules bring to the game. So the second module is the Proto Molecule. When we start off in a 3 or 4 player game, whoever is the second last player places the Proto Molecule on one of the bases. This base now is going to score differently to the rest. It's going to follow this Proto Molecule scoring 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and finally 8 every time it scores, but nothing for second place. Now whoever's got the most influence there is going to score that amount of points. However, whoever has got second most influence is then going to take control of it and choose what base this goes to next. The problem here is if there's ever a tie for first or second place for influence, wherever the proton molecule is, that base is destroyed and will not score for the rest of the game, and whoever was originally in control of this before the scoring is going to keep control and move it to another base. So bases can get taken out of the game by the proton molecule, very thematic. Again, 4 cards that integrate with that somehow by moving around the proton molecule and doing different things. The fourth module is the resource tokens module. Everyone starts with one. And now when you score a base, then you would usually have got a point for in the base game because it matches the type of resource that you're after. You don't do that, you take a resource token, and what can you do with them? Well, you can spend them as extra action points whenever you gain action points. You can spend them as control points whenever you have to spend control points. And the last thing you can do is on your turn, you can push yourself up to the top of the initiative track by scoring one of these. At the end of the game, there's a few points. Whoever's got the most resource tokens left scores 5 points, second 3 and last 1. Again, 4 cards to mess around with resource tokens. The last one is this leader expansion. Now these leaders can be used as fleets, but when you move them around, when they move into a new orbit, you can immediately, if you've used action points to do that, just add 1 influence to any of the bases from that orbit, and it doesn't cost you any extra other than the action points you've spent to move, but not if you move them via a card effect. The other thing you can do with them is, instead of taking a normal turn, you can do a power play turn. Each player starts with an inner sector, belt sector and outer sector token, and these 2, 3 or 4 points. And if you choose to take a power play, you choose one of the sectors. Let's say I choose the belt for the OPA here. I can choose to score 2, 3 or 4 points per base I control in there. And when I've done that, I score all those points and throw those away, and those are no longer available to me. Again, 4 cards that will integrate with the leaders or get you back your tokens or let you use tokens again or whatever it may be. Those are the 5 modules included in Doors and Corners. Add them to the base game as you choose. This has been a Game Pit Stop. For more videos like this, check out our YouTube channel. For more in-depth coverage of gaming, please check out the Game Pit podcast. Thank you very much.